Hi guys, my name is Pratik Karelia. I am a team member in Phoenix Aero, SAE Phoenix Aero. So today is your first session. Now it will be held from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So there are some few rules which I would like to tell you. So first of all, whichever queries you have, you guys can post it in the comments. We'll answer all this query in the comments, and general doubts, anything like that, you guys can post it in the comments. Keep yourself muted during the whole session. Close your other tabs and applications because if you keep it on, it might actually, like, your screen might lag and the speaker's voice might lag, so you might miss out some important informations. um, if you have a question about whatever has been shown in the session, you guys can ask in the end. We'll be having a 15 minutes Q&A session in the end, so you guys can unmute yourself at that time, and you guys can ask at that moment of time. Okay, so today is the first session, which will be held by Shivakshi Shil Shivasta. She is a technical member in Phoenix Aero, and this session is on the aircraft basics. So I would like to give it to Shivakshi to start the session. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Pratik. So, hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our first session. This is going to be about aircraft basics. Let's just start, right? Are we going to wait or we'll just start?
Yeah, just
We'll start, Shivakshi. We'll start.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start by getting to know what we are going to learn today, basically. So the session objectives. As the name suggests, we will be talking about just the basics to get you an idea, get a common vocabulary in which we can communicate. So this session is going to include this session is going to give you a knowledge of like what aircraft is, its classification, examples, etc. You are going to be able to identify parts of an aeroplane. We are going to talk about how airplanes like do such intricate maneuvers, or like even the simpler ones. Like, have you ever thought about it? If we have a car, you want to turn the car to right, you just steer it, the wheels go right, and the whole car goes right. What in the case of an aeroplane? We are going to talk about that as well. And all in all, our aim is that you walk out of today's session having a basic grasp of what an aircraft is and how they work. So we'll start with it. First off, I have a question for you all. You can speak up. What is the difference between an airplane and an aircraft, or are the two of them the same? Does anyone want to answer?
We can say airplane is the subset of aircraft.
Yeah. Do you want
Aeroplane
to?
carries a lot of people. Aeroplane carries a lot of people, but aircraft carries only one person, I think.
Oh,
Can we say that
that's not-
aircraft is anything which can fly, means helicopter? But
Yeah.
airplane is
Rocket.
specific.
Yeah, that's very close. Okay. So,
Okay,
Go on.
so the airplane is the one that uses the concept of lift to get up, and aircraft is any object that maintains a suitable flight for some time.
So, can a helicopter be called an aeroplane? It uses lift.
It uses lift, but it uses thrust actually.
Okay, I'll get to it. Okay. So I'll discuss about this, and after some time, I'll ask this question again, and then see what you can answer. All right. So we'll start with aircraft. As someone said before, aircraft is anything that we're talking about that can fly, and we'll categorize it in a way that we can say one thing is lighter than air or heavier than air. Lighter than air, also known as aerostat. This includes your hot air balloons, or this is called airships. You might have not seen it in real life. You have seen it in cartoons and stuff. And the other ones are the heavier than air. Okay, so these include your aeroplane, helicopter, etc. So for the lighter than air, They are basically what they basically work on the same principle as a helium balloon flies. Or like you put a log of wood on water and it floats. That's the same thing that's happening here. The density is lighter, so that's how it lifts in the air. Okay. So we have even two classification in that. That is without engine, and with engine. Without engine, you have kite balloons and free balloons. So if you might have seen in kite festivals, if someone is from Gujarat, they have seen in kite festivals that they're big, massive balloons tied for decorations and stuff. And those include in here, your hot air balloon is also comes here. And then we have with engine, that's this airship or blimp. Basically what it is, it lifts, it stays in air due to the difference in density. All right. But it actually has engine so that it can move in direction that it wants. That's how they work. And we don't need to get into details of that. What we need to get in details of is heavier than air. Okay. I'll ask you one question. So if someone is from Gujarat, or if not, okay, you might have flown one lighter than air aircraft quite recently on Uttarayan. Does someone know what? Can someone answer?
Is that kite?
Actually, not. No. I think about it. Yeah, kandils. Okay, yeah. Sky lanterns. Correct answer. So a kite, think about it. When you have a kite, like you're not tied to anything or just pick it up like this and throw it in the air. What happens? Does it start flying like a helium balloon or does it come down? Huh? Comes down, right? So it actually is heavier than air. So heavier than aircraft include kites. Basically, kite generate lift by, you can see the surface where on which side the string is attached or your thread is attached. The reaction force that this surface has with the wind, that creates your lift, that enables the kite to fly. Okay. And for the non-power driven, basically they do not have a power source inbuilt. We have another thing that's called gliders. Gliders, for those who don't know, is actually a aircraft that looks a lot like plane, but it does not have an inbuilt engine. So what is done is it is usually tied on the with another plane, like you tow a truck. Okay, that sort of thing. And it is taken to the air to a level altitude and then let go. So it can glide down from there. That's how gliders work. Then we get to power-driven, heavier than air aircraft. This one have three categories, that is fixed wing, rotorcraft, and ornithocopters. Basically, they are classified, these three classification we do on the basis of how they create the lift. In fixed wing aircraft, the first one we picked, the fixed wing aircraft basically creates lift by fixed wing. And one thing I want to clarify, the word fixed is not to signify that the wings are rigid. Okay. It is there to tell that the wings are not rotating relative to the aircraft's body. That's what the word fixed means. That like rotating with respect to the body, you can say for a helicopter, that is not included in fixed wing. Okay, fixed wing basically have fixed wings with respect to the aircraft. And these can be further classified on various factors. We have here basis on their landing gear. So we have a seaplane which has the ability to land and take off on the water surface. And the second one is land plane, which you generally know about. And this fixed wing category, this thing is casually called as an aeroplane or a plane. Okay. Then we get to the next one. That is, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we have does aircraft has front propellers? It depends. It's not necessarily because, propellers are used to provide the forward force. Okay. So in this also they have a propeller-like thing. It can depend on the type of aircraft that is. Then we have a question for you. Why are most plane white and is the color of prime importance? Can someone answer this? Why are aeroplanes colored white? Just that. Is there a reason or just like everyone thought, okay, planes look cool in white? Reflect sunlight. What's the no, what do you get from that reflecting sunlight? Like what's the aim for doing that?
Easily catchable in radar.
Once they tried making because for a advertisement for Pepsi, they made a plane in black color, but then the
Yeah.
flight started moving out of fuel. So then they reverted back to black white. So
But why is that?
exactly,
Because
the fuel efficiency.
If it is star color, it absorbs light and it gets heated up.
exactly.
To reflect heat waves.
So it reflects most of the light and it does not absorb it, and that basically protects your aircraft. So it is preferable to paint it white. There are all some other factors also, like it's cheaper and other things, like it's repaintable. But the main reason is, it reflects light, so it does not absorb that much heat. That's why planes are painted white. Okay, so the second category in power-driven heavier than aircrafts are rotorcrafts. So rotor is basically you have rotor blades mounted to a mount that is rotating, and that generates the upward force. Okay, so in rotorcraft we have two categories. One that has only one rotor, so that is known as helicopter. There are some exceptions also, but generally single rotorcraft is known as helicopter. Then we have multi-rotor. As the name suggests, they have more than one rotors. And this is a popular name, like in this category, is what you call drone, as quadcopter or hexaropter. That's what you call as drones. Okay. Then we go to ornithocopter. This is, how do I explain it? Okay. So this is basically an aircraft that mimics birds. They generate lift by flapping mechanical wings. And if you have seen the movie Uri, they had an aircraft like this to spy on their enemies. That comes under ornithocopters. Okay. Now, so you read all the classification of airplane. Okay, I'll get to one more thing. Why the word aerodynes for heavier than aircrafts? See, here the word dynes in aerodynes stands for dynamic. And what it says is that these kind of aircraft produce lift by dynamic motion through the air. Dynamic motion means moving through the air. That's how they create lift. So that's why aerodynes. Okay, now we get back to the earlier question. What's the difference between an aeroplane and an aircraft? Can someone answer? Or are they two the same?
We can say all man-made objects which fly is aircraft.
Okay. And
based on wing structure, we can say airplane has fixed wings, whereas aircraft need not necessarily have fixed wings.
Yeah, exactly. So for an aircraft to be called an airplane, there are three categories that it needs to fulfill. First, it should be a heavier than air type of craft. Okay, it cannot be a balloon. It needs to be heavier than air type of craft. It should be power driven. Gliders also, plus gliders are not power driven. Okay. Then the third thing we have is fixed wing. If an aircraft fulfills all three categories, it is generally casually called as an aeroplane. That's the difference. Then now we have learned what an aeroplane is, different from an aircraft. We will talk a bit about aeroplanes. Okay. And specifically, So in aero modeling, there are different classifications. Okay, we'll start from there. Second wala kya tha? As in, so for aeroplanes, right? So it should be heavier than air, then power driven and fixed wing. Fulfills all three categories, it is called as an aeroplane. Now that we know what an aeroplane is, we will see for its classification also. Now, aeroplanes can be classified based on various factors, like you have Mach, you have type of engine, number of engine, you have purpose, you have size, payload, all a lot. But today we are going to focus on classification based on purpose. Now, because we deal with aero modeling, and when you're designing an aircraft, the one thing that highly dictates is what is the purpose of that aircraft? What do you want that aircraft to do? So we are going to see classification based on purpose of aircraft. So first we have military. This is technically not a separate category, but we have kept it here. Military aircraft generally include jet, but they can also include passenger planes or cargo planes. So see, when you're thinking about making an military aircraft, especially and jet, here you can see is actually, this jet is actually Euro Typhoon. It's twin. So this is actually Euro Typhoon. This is a twin engine multi-combat jet. And basically, when you think about making a military aircraft, what you have to focus more on. Yes. So what you have to, when you think of making a military aircraft, what to focus more on is that it should have maneuverability. It should be able to do intricate maneuvers or move, and it should be able to gain very high speed. This aircraft can go up to Mach 2. And we do not necessarily focus on how many passengers it can carry, because that's not the aim right here. And then we move on to passenger aircraft. The picture you can see right here is of Airbus A380. It actually world's biggest passenger airliner, and was awarded best passenger aircraft in 2015. So if you see this if you contrast this basis on military aircraft, you have to think about when you're making a passenger-based aircraft, you have to think about getting as many people be able to sit here comfortably as you can. You have to think about stability. You have to think about a lot of other things. Then we go on to cargo airplanes. These are airplanes that some people do confuse. Okay, so these are airplanes that are used to carry transfer one thing, transfer things. Okay, for passenger planes, it is used to carry passengers. Basically, cargo planes is for carrying big, if you think about how a car is actually carried from a different land to land, and so you use this kind of cargo aircraft, and you can see the difference between these two. This thing has 6 actually turbojet engines, and it is the world's biggest. It is the world's heaviest aircraft, and it weighs around somewhere 280,000 kg, and it can carry up to a payload of 640 tons. So as you can see, these aircraft are made to carry as much weight as possible. So the number of jets signifies that. You do not need a small passenger door like this. This thing, you can see the cross section here. What happens is basically when it has to load things, the cockpit actually goes up. So you have an area that is the cross section of this whole aircraft to be able to store even huge cargo. All right. Then we go on to agricultural aircraft. I specifically do not know what model this is, but when you think about agricultural aircraft, the main purpose is to be able to, drop pesticides on a field, on a farm. So they are manufactured in such a way that they have the capacity to carry water and drop that payload when required. So that's for the classification based on purpose. Now we have a question for you. Have you ever wondered if an airplane can reverse? Does anyone know if an airplane can reverse?
No, I don't think so.
No, ma'am.
Reverse where? On the ground or in mid-flight?
We can talk about ground, yeah.
Yeah, so on the ground you would rotate in the opposite way, no?
Rotate in the opposite way means like you
Uh,
turn the aircraft and going the
No,
opposite
no.
that
like
way.
the turbines, when rotated in one way, I don't know exactly, but rotated in
Okay.
one way would pull the air. So on the opposite,
Mhm.
it should reverse thrust, no?
Yeah, you use the right term, but I have the wrong concept. Actually, aeroplanes can reverse. Most of them can actually. It is not generally used, but they can. So basically, there is a phenomenon called reverse thrust. This is not what he told, but like the name is the same. Reverse thrust. Basically, what happens is when you see jet engine. Basically, how do I explain this? Okay, so if you have seen like clips of airplane landing or something, they have a zoomed in photo of jet engines. What is there? There is a flap in there. So the air that comes in from the fan side is actually rotated and sent out of a flap, and this creates a backward force that is known as reverse thrust. It can happen. It is generally used to slow down an aircraft, de-accelerate an aircraft just before the landing. But on ground, not usually used because there are a lot of drawbacks to it. Debris can just get stuck and basically degrade the whole plane's quality. So we do not use that, but technically possible. Yeah.
So it
Okay.
means like if with that way you said about the wing that flap through that forces the reverse. So if that reverse thrust increases the forward thrust, then the plane will reverse. In a way, you can say this.
It is used to de-accelerate. It technically can reverse, but it is not used to. On flying, it won't be able to reverse. It can just de-accelerate. On ground, it can reverse because it's stationary, and when you do reverse thrust, it can reverse, but it is not done due to the problem that debris can get stuck into it or things can be pulled inside it because high suction forces get created. Like it's big engines, and so for the safety of it, it's not done, but it can be done.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we know about planes, we'll get a bit more into as of what we deal with as a club. So we do not make passenger airplanes like an aircraft that is able to carry people. We make what is called as UAV. So does someone know the full form of a UAV?
Unmanned vehicle.
Perfect. Unmanned aerial vehicle. So we have UAVs. I'll just get shortly explain how they are classified and stuff. So we can have two classification. One is based on landing. So we have HTOL, VTOL, and STOL. So the TOL, the tall part, it actually means takeoff and landing. So the tall part TOL actually means takeoff and landing. So HTOL refers to horizontal takeoff and landing. VTOL for vertical takeoff and landing, and STOL means short takeoff and landing. There can be other combination of it. There are some aircraft that need a horizontal takeoff but can land vertically and vice versa. But we're not going to it. We'll just talk about these three. So horizontal takeoff and landing, also known as conventional takeoff and landing. It is what you see in conventional plane. Like they need a very big runway to run on and gain speed, and then they can lift up in the air. But that is known as horizontal takeoff, and same happens for the landing. So horizontal takeoff and landing. For vertical takeoff and landing, we can take example of a drone. They do not need to run on a runway. They do not need to gain speed. They can just directly lift upwards. That is vertical action. So vertical takeoff and landing. Also, I want to clear that it's not just for helicopter or quadrocopter, drone, multirotors. There are a lot of fixed wing aircrafts that actually have VTOL. One of the example you can take is F-35. Yeah, Lightning II, very good. So that actually it's engineered in such a magnificent way. So the engine, okay. So if you imagine an aircraft standing and its engine is facing backwards, it is mechanized in such a way that during takeoff, that thing turns downwards. So now it's creating a force, lift force upwards, and it can lift from the vertical position itself and then go on from there. That is a very good example. Other thing you can say for vertical takeoff and landing, if you have ever seen SpaceX rocket launches, they use a launching vehicle called Falcon 9. If you know what I'm talking about. So basically, in a rocket, what you have is like you need a launching vehicle that take it to, Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, both, So a launching vehicle that stores the fuel and the engines to take it out of the Earth's atmosphere. Then it's no more needed because once you get out of the Earth's atmosphere, you can move in a comparatively lesser force. So this landing vehicle usually was like just thrown away in the outer space, but SpaceX built this Falcon 9 in such a way that it can land back onto the ground. And that is a very good example of vertical landing. Then we have STOL, so short takeoff and landing. It is basically, it works like the same as the horizontal takeoff and landing. The difference is that for STOL, you need a very small runway space. So you see STOL in smaller aircraft or usually military aircraft, jet engines, jets, that kind of thing, where they do not have the space to just run on a very long part of land. So they have STOL, where they can run on a shorter ground, take up speed, and then lift up in the air. Conventional planes come under HTOL. Conventional, other name for HTOL is also conventional takeoff and landing. So that's for the classification based on landing. Then we have classification based on aerodynamics. We talked about some of this. So we talked about fixed wing. Okay, so it creates lift by having fixed wing that move dynamically through the air. That's how lift is created. We saw flapping wing. That was your ornithocopter, which is a mechanical bird-like thing. Then we saw multi-rotors, your drones and all, which have more than one rotors. What you have not seen is ducted fans. That is also called as EDF. Basically, when you're making a smaller version of a jet, okay, so you cannot exactly, put a jet engine there. So ducted fan then come in. It's basically a propeller, which is ducted inside a cylinder. Which, it increases the thrust by a good factor. Like it saves wasted energy. So increases the thrust by a great factor, and that is called as ducted fans. More light on flapping wings. Flapping wings are a very unique kind of aircraft. Basically, they create lift by flapping mechanical wings. And you might have seen the picture above. You can imagine, if you have watched the movie Uri, they had a scene where they sent a spy craft in enemy's territory. That was your flapping wing. Ducted fan is actually what you see in when you think of a plane, you see the engine thing. Okay, so basically what is it? Propeller, your fan, which is ducted inside a cylinder. That is called ducted fans. And the cylinder is not just something, it's created in such a specific way that it saves the wasted energy when the propeller is moving. There's some energy, some forces that are applied to it, that the energy from the motor is wasted and not completely transferred into what your thrust. So these are ducted in a way to increase that efficiency.
Guys, I would like to tell you something. Just post your questions in the chat box right now. We'll be having Q&A session in the end, where if you didn't understand anything or you have a question, it will be cleared at that time. So whatever questions you have, just post it in the chat. It will be cleared in the Q&A session. Thank you.
So now we come to this. This is actually one of our previous aircraft, Atmos X. So this thing has a wingspan of 1.2 meters and an endurance of over 10 minutes. This was created to basically take part in Boeing IIT air modeling national air modeling competition that was held in IIT Bombay, and it was specifically designed to be able to drop payload on a localized target during a flight. This is one. Then okay. So we'll start about forces that work on an aircraft. That was a confusion. So you can see there are 4 numbered forces: 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll start from 1. So 1 is the forward force, which is generally known as thrust. All right, is the forward force. This is created by the propeller working here. Forward force, that is known as thrust. Then we will talk about 3. So third is drag force. So the thrust applies forward. The drag force is actually, generally speaking, you can say the drag force is gets applied in the opposite direction of the motion. If you do not know what drag force is, you can basically understand it by, like, when a body moves through a fluid, there you can assume there to be particles of fluid that collide with this body and apply a backward force. That thing is called as drag or drag force. So then we have an above force applying here. The second force, that is known as lift. We'll get to the physics of lift in the next session, but right now you need to know that the force that keeps the aircraft afloat is known as lift. And then we have the fourth one, that is your gravitational force. Gravitational force always acts towards the earth, okay, the center of the earth, and it is dependent on mass. So the gravitational force increases when the mass also increases, and that's why we try to keep the aircraft as light as possible. To eliminate this gravitational force, we do not need a lot of lift to keep it up. Yeah, okay. So why do aircraft retract the landing gear after takeoff? Another question for you all. It is a bit intuitive. We just talked about it.
Increase the drag force.
How it increases drag force? Do you know?
Area बढ़ जाएगा तो collision बढ़ जाएगा.
Exactly. So फिर drag भी बढ़ जाएगा. So to decrease the drag force, we try to just retract the landing gear inside, and when the time for landing, we'll take it down. So yeah, okay. So we'll start with parts of an airplane. Does anyone know what part is called fuselage? What do I mean when I say a fuselage of an airplane?
Fuel storage space.
No, actually.
Aeroplane.
On it?
Main of aeroplane.
Air intake.
Center tube aeroplane.
Sir, ma'am, the arrow pointing towards the lowermost emoji. Sir, the lowermost emoji, which is the arrow which is pointing towards the lowermost emoji.
This one.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you are correct. Fuselage is basically the main body of the aircraft. It is usually like a hollow cylindrical tube that connects all the parts of the airplane. And in a commercial aircraft, this is where the passengers are seated. The lines of rows are there, seats. And generally in other aircraft, this is where all the other things are. Payload is carried here. The cargo is also here. Then we come to, so this is the fuselage. Then we have wings. Wings. So this is the part that mostly creates the lift that keeps the plane above, like afloat. So wings is where the most of the lift is created. Then we have a last part that is called the tail. But this whole backward part, as the name signifies, is called a tail. Tail is not the actual term. It should be called empennage. Remember that name. This whole part is called empennage, and it is not just one piece. It generally constitutes of 2 pieces. That is this vertical stabilizer and horizontal stabilizer. Okay. There are parts in this on the vertical stabilizer as well as the horizontal stabilizer, and the wings that are on the rear side of them, which are hinged, which can move up and down. So